Our Old Testament lesson this morning is going to be from the book of Genesis. I'll be reading two different chapters, Genesis 2, 15 to 17, and Genesis 3, 1 to 7. Very familiar story to all of us, I'm sure. The Lord God took man and put him in the Garden of Eden to work it, to take care of it. And the Lord God commanded man, "You are free to eat from any tree in the garden, but you must not eat from the tree of knowledge of good and evil. For when you eat of it, you will surely die." Now the serpent was more crafty than any of the wild animals the Lord God had made. And he said to the woman, "Did God really say you must not eat from any tree in the garden?" The woman said to the serpent, "We may eat fruit from the trees in the garden. But God did say, you must not eat fruit from the tree that is in the middle of the garden. And you must not touch it, or you will die." "You will not surely die," the serpent said to the woman, "for God knows that when you eat of it, your eyes will be opened, and you will be like God, knowing good and evil." And when the woman saw that the fruit of the tree was good for food, and pleasing to the eye, and also desirable for gaining wisdom, she took some and ate it. She also gave some to her husband who was with her, and he ate it. Then the eyes of both of them were opened, and they realized that they were naked. So they sewed fig leaves together and made coverings for themselves. This is the word of the Lord.
Thanks be to God. Our gospel reading is also a very familiar one. You hear it quite often, and you hear it different versions of the story in different gospels. So we're reading from Matthew chapter 4, verses 1 through 11. Listen for God's word for you. Then Jesus was led up by the Spirit into the wilderness to be tempted by the devil. He fasted 40 days and 40 nights, and afterwards he was famished. The tempter came and said to him, "If you are the Son of God, command these stones to become loaves of bread." But he answered, "It is written, one does not live by bread alone, but by every word that comes from the mouth of God." Then the devil took him up to the holy city and placed him on the pinnacle of the temple, saying to him, "If you are the Son of God, throw yourself down, for it is written, he will command his angels concerning you, and on their hands they will bear you up, so that you will not dash your foot against a stone." Jesus said, "Again it is written, do not put the Lord your God to the test." Again the devil took him to a very high mountain and showed him all the kingdoms of the world and their splendor. And he said to him, "All of these I will give you, if you will fall down and worship me." Jesus said to him, "Away with you, Satan, for it is written, worship the Lord your God and serve only him." Then the devil left him, and suddenly angels came and waited on him. The Gospel of our Lord. Okay, so this week I had trouble figuring out what sermon title we wanted. And this is a really big thing. So I was going to say, prove it, and then I got to thinking and then had trouble resisting with no quid pro quo. I mean, we hear that all the time these days, don't we? So I thought I'd leave it up to you. How many want prove it? How many want no quid pro quo? Okay. Most are abstaining, and that's okay. Because it really doesn't matter, okay? Both are going to be in here. That's the truth. So, if we were to say no quid pro quo, we like to bargain. Because we like to feel in control. Especially when life feels like it's out of control. You give me what I want, and I'll give you what you want, and everyone will be happy. It's mastering the art of the deal, right? What could go? Everyone wins. What could go wrong? Well, it depends on with whom you decide to partner. If one sells their soul to the devil, as the New Hampshire farmer did in Stephen Vincent Benet's story of The Devil and Daniel Webster, which also became a play and a movie, one needs Daniel Webster to bring to light the tricks that the devil uses to get us out of the deal that we signed on for. We see those tricks displayed in both our Old Testament and our Gospel reading today. In the Garden of Eden, where life is beautiful, and everything that one could ever want or need is within an arm's reach. You know, it's right there before you. And Adam and Eve fall for the tricks by eating the forbidden apple to gain power of God's knowledge in disobedience to God's will. Then they try to point fingers, blame someone else. Isn't that just like most of us? The woman, she made me do it. The serpent made me do it. Or as Philip Wilson and Gerald Dean say, the devil made me do it. Adam and Eve didn't realize the cost of their bargain to become like God. They lost the garden and the gifts that they had been given. But when Jesus was famished and dehydrated in the wilderness, after 40 days and 40 nights without food or water, he was given the opportunity to have all of his needs met, if he would do as Satan instructed. Jesus responded with a refusal of the quid pro quo. No quid pro quo for him. He did, however, respond to scripture quotes with other scriptures that cut right through to the real issue at hand. Jesus is being told that if he is the Son of Man, or the Son of God, prove it. While there's other things we can and will consider, Jesus' identity and citizenship is being questioned. Is Jesus really the Son of God? Is he really divine? If so, turning stones into bread would be no problem at all. Throwing oneself off a cliff is a feat that any supernatural powers could handle, right? It's like some of our childhood dares. Do you remember some of those dares when you were a child? I have a neighbor who dared me to eat dog food. His brother ended up working for Quid, taste testing dog food, so I'm sure that he had gotten asked to do it too. My brother would get, my younger brother would get tested by the next door neighbor, and my big brother, if you're a chicken, do a billy flop off the high dive. And he'd do it. Or some in college probably heard chug a pint of Corona or some other brew. Or cross the center line while driving at top speed. Show us your magic by sawing someone in half. Or being handcuffed in a box, dumped into a swimming pool. Prove yourself. Prove you're good enough. Prove you can do what you say you can do. It brings out one's insecurities through peer pressure. And we've all experienced that at some point in life. We feel the need to be successful. We often feel the need to be right and to prove others wrong. And we feel the need to be powerful and to have everything under our control. Those are the three primary temptations we all experience. What we fail to see is that these compulsions can take over and control our own lives. We allow our need to prove ourselves to be the driving force, instead of seeing ourselves as created in the image of God, called God's beloved, adopted and loved by God regardless of what we say or do. It doesn't matter that we are imperfect or make mistakes. As we learned on Sesame Street, everybody makes mistakes. My children would tell that to me all the time when I'd say, oh, I made a mistake. God doesn't make junk. When we fall into the traps of proving we are good enough, we often end up questioning and testing God in the process. We try to bargain with God, saying, God, if you'll do this, then I'll do what you want me to do. At least that's how I got to seminary. God, I kept feeling called, but I was said, well, everyone knew women didn't go into ministry. Why didn't God get the memo? So I made a bargain with God. Well, that's not a good idea. I said, I've taken the upper level geology classes, but I'm struggling with this intro to geology, and the grade's not the best. So God, if you'll help me out a little bit here, I'll apply to a seminary. My grade shot up. And so I had to apply to a seminary. So, and bargaining continued. So, anyway, we all kind of do some of the bargaining, even though we're taught that's not good theology. And it usually doesn't work out the best. Dot Fielder posted on Tulip Street United Methodist Church website on February 29th, 2004. It was titled The Temptation of Jesus, and she points to a tragic time in faith in our history, which some of you probably know and some of you don't. One tragic example of believing that God can be manipulated into violating natural law and good sense came during the early 13th century in Europe. It is reported that in the year 1212, France and Germany were swept up in what had been called the Children's Crusade. Earlier crusades to liberate the Holy Land from the Muslims had failed, but swept up in stories of visions and promise of miraculous success, children, many of them poor, from all over France and Germany, began marching to the port city of Marseille in southern France, there to go on ships to the Holy Land. Once in the Holy Land, they and others believed that Muslims would throw down their arms in the face of this divine army of children. When the children marched off in the year 1212 on the Children's Crusade, this was a sign of mass religious hysteria. They were testing God. If the children go, God will watch over, protect, and grant victory to them. You can well imagine what happened. Medieval historians write that the children who survived the journey were sold into slavery upon their arrival in North Africa. This horrible misuse of children could bring no miraculous deliverance of the Holy Land from the Muslims. We cannot control God. We cannot, by our faith, demand signs or manipulate God into action. Like us, Satan is trying to manipulate God in our gospel reading, but Jesus refuses to be used or manipulated by others. He makes the clear choice of choosing God at all cost. He rises above this challenge, which strengthens him to overcome the tests and challenges that will face him in the future. Each challenge to overcome temptation helps Jesus grow in strength. God doesn't abandon Jesus in it. God instead sends angels to minister to him following. But God like many parents, knows that our children cannot grow strong if we do everything for them. We have to allow them to make their own choices, their own decisions in life. It's hard to watch them struggle, or make the wrong choice, or to be in pain, or to wrestle with difficult decisions. But if we do it for them, they will never grow to their fullest potential. Temptations can be an opportunity to learn and grow. And Gary Zukuk on Oprah.com, September 17, 2001, writes, "Temptation is like a magnet. It brings negative things to the surface and it allows you to do something about it. Temptation is an invitation to get to know yourself. You can think of temptation as providing you a dress rehearsal. When you're tempted, you can play out in your mind what would happen if you indulge. Once you visualize what would happen if you snack on some chips, smoke a cigarette, buy those shoes that you want, you can make a choice to resist or to act out. The benefit of playing this out in your mind is that you don't create any negative consequences if you choose to resist. Only if you act on your temptation have you created negative consequences for yourself and others." So Gary offers some tips for us on temptation to ask a series of questions. Does this bring me genuine power? Will this make me more loving? Will this make me more whole? Gary adds that each time you challenge a temptation successfully, you empower yourself. If we listen to the 13th century Franciscan monk, St. Anthony, he says, "Expect temptation with your last breath." Temptations prepare us for the challenges that we will face later. Could Jesus have endured Holy Week at the crucifixion without having this wilderness experience, battling temptations? We can't really know the answer for sure, and yet it makes sense that this encounter equipped Jesus for what was yet to come. His battle with temptation enables us to see our own struggles as well with temptation, and we can shed some new light on it. We don't have to engage in a quid pro quo to feel better or more confident in our own identity. We don't need to prove ourselves for our children, that we are children of God, endowed with valued and redeemed by the love of Christ. With the divine walking with us, we can overcome the power of temptation and live up to our fullest potential. Let us go forth, knowing that we will be tested. We will encounter temptation. And through it all, we can grow in God's love and God's grace.